Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Wow.
We sound all kinds of techno.
Probably not only to us, but that's all that matters.
That's right. I'm going to play the intro. Welcome back to the Positively Negative podcast,
where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of positivity in a world that can be quite negative.
I'm Dalio.
And I'm Team Humble.
And we're glad you're here. I love that. That can stay.
Okay.
The way that Dale's head is shaking like,
I hate that so much.
Well, we need new intros, and we will work on new intros. We just have not had time for that.
That can stay.
Oh, come on. Give me a break.
Oh, well.
It is dodgy in terms of like the cackle, and but you are cute at the end where you're like, okay.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just you laying your ruling through all the land.
Oh, okay. Good mood. Good start to the day. Just because you've had a shitty client start to the day, don't put it on me. Don't put it on me because you have multiple textual versions of things that keep getting updated and you don't know where your head's at, so I get the flack for it.
You don't get the flack. It's just...
I just got the flack.
We need a flack soundboard. Flack alert. Flag alert.
That'd be great.
Alert.
That would be so good in a game like Apex Legends if you could define that you weren't just in a squad of 3 or in duos, that actually you were a couple, right? And so like there was the male and the female player, but you're actually a couple, and then you had sound effects to match. Like, I have a flat jacket over here. You should get it because your attitude sucks. like sound engineering and add-ons based on relationship, like... That'd be cool.
Passive aggression.
Okay. Good mood. A good mood.
Whatever. I can be the negative one once.
You can be the negative today. That's fine. I'm super positive today. I mean, it's Friday. We should have done our podcast like 2 days ago. I do apologise, but we've had a hectic week.
Yeah.
Hectic week, yes. End of last week and then the start of this week. And kind of wanted to pull that together today in terms of what's been going on.
Yeah. Because
it has been, like, instead of just pushing one project, we pushed like 3 projects, and like really proud of us for getting it done.
Yeah.
I feel like listening to all those MSP waves for weeks on end about, we need to bring money to the blockchain and people should be starting businesses, and
posting pictures of your cat means you're raping the rewards pool.
Right. So
wah, wah.
Because we had all that happy times. Because we had all that, it just made sense for us to be like, let's have a quick look at what we can do and what do we like to do. And we kind of joined 2 worlds together. So we joined the world of getting frustrated at looking at the Upwork queue every day of people being like, I need this and I need this and I need this and I want to pay you this much for it and I need it today. And being like, these people...
It's impossible.
These people don't want to pay money. They don't want to pay money. They don't want to like spend loads of time. And actually, most of them only want a landing page. They want to experience. If it's not that, it's people like, I need a D-Rock. Like, okay, mate. Yeah, no problem.
I need you to make me go viral, please.
Yeah, I need a viral editor and I need D-Rock. I'm like,
I can pay you $5 per video.
It's funny, isn't it, how people see something and then they want that and they just don't associate how much that costs in terms of energy and time.
I think that means, it has to mean that we're doing a bad job as the service providers or as the people in the industry, or we're playing the short game of looking cool in the moment by being able to pull those things off, but not explaining what goes into it in terms of effort.
Well,
right? Because like people like Gary want to have that D-Rock and then make it seem like it's magic so that they can look like they have it all under control, which communicates to future clients of ours like, oh, well, why can't you just make it?
Ooh, I thought I swallowed my own tongue then. If you don't know who Gary is, Gary V has been around for quite a while, been selling wine, but he's also done very much for social media in the last 10 years. He's really got into that. He basically went to South by Southwest, realised that nobody was steering the ship, and a lot of people didn't know what they were talking about, or they were just like doing social campaigns and not actually going anywhere. So he was like, I can do this, I can crush this better than these people are doing it. And so started up VaynerMedia.
He's
and
the
then
only social media guru that I'll like recognize or give the time of day personally.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a perfect example. D-Rock got in touch with him, just emailed him and said, I can make this better, I can do this better, and I can be like, and he did it for free for a while. And so like, sometimes you have to do the cheap stuff before you get in and actually get paid a job. But the thing with Gary is that all of his content is in time media anyway. So the people he bumps into, like everything in the city, especially New York, is kind of like what's on trend today. And then he has 100 people in an office that he can go make it just, we need to jump on top of this. And then people see the frequency that he's able to deliver that. And so they buy into that.
Yeah.
They buy the frequency.
But I think it's also important to note that the things that he was doing in the beginning for free, quote unquote, were not at the level that he's doing now for a full paid salary.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I think people are like, you'll get so much exposure. And you're like, I can't pay my bills with exposure.
Yeah, you're talking really quiet. It's a time sensitive thing as well, I think, is that people want to get in and want to get out. There's only a few things where I see a lot of people doing drop shipping and buying stuff from abroad and like having their own custom white label versions of it. Those things have got legacy to them because the longer those stores are up, the more money they're going to make. But the products that are on it, people are literally looking for something that's going to, trend really quickly. The time to market that it used to be of something like, I don't know, squidges, right? Let's take squidges. Like kids are like, oh God, I'm into squidges now. Like how that started, probably some YouTuber and everybody was like, oh, I've got to get some squidges. And then all of a sudden that like went off and then China was like, shit, we need to make loads of this stuff. I'm sure there was like YouTubers who made Shopify sites. And so like there's years of money to be made on those things. That obviously the money goes down because the trend dies off. But I think the people who are making bank fast are the people who jump into Facebook and be like, this is going viral, we need to copy it. Everybody's copying everything. Copy. So, I mean, I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to do any web stuff at all for anybody. Because websites are dead. Websites are dead.
And what is alive and well is the frustration of like the client 2.5, 3 years later being like, my website's down.
Yeah, exactly.
This plugin's broken, and you're like, oh, I don't like. It's really difficult to, in the beginning, a client's not going to want to sign on for the long term. It's like we were talking about earlier. Like it's like running a car.
Yeah.
You don't just buy the car and then it just runs perfectly for the rest of
Right.
People aren't ready for that type of commitment or expense, and I'm not. I don't have any of my sites hosted on WordPress because I don't want to deal with the hosting charges and the logging in and seeing that it's broken and seeing what update messed up what plugin.
Yeah.
And so that's why I love cards so much.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to like tack on all of that extra stuff. And I think to the client in the moment it seems like it's just an upsell. Like, well, in 3 years of service, like what? Why? Okay.
Well, if websites are dead, I think you still have to have a URL most of the time to a landing page with stuff on it because, working with people, you can't say, check out my Twitter. They want to see something that they can read in 30 seconds or a couple of minutes and then be like, yeah, I made a decision. Click on this video, listen to that audio. You seem to be able to do what we can do. Sorted. Like,
right.
We'll jump in.
Or even just for people who aren't freelancers like us, even just a hub of contact information. Here's a form. Here's our address. Here's where you can reach us. People just need like all of the stuff that they have out on social media, just aggregated into like a just like a one-page fact sheet.
Well, it's the year of the builder, isn't it? 2019. It's like there's lots of different builder apps out there that you can bring in as embeds now. And in a way, it's kind of decentralized websites because, yes, you've got a web host and they're probably hosting in the cloud, but then you're bringing in little bits as well.
Yeah, right.
And actually, it's more bloody reliable than having a WordPress site with loads of, like, bolt-ons to it. So anyway, we kind of married the two worlds together of Upwork, of people asking for cheap designs, layouts, certain niches as well. So there's, like, actors and bands and, like, baby care, things like that, healthcare, podcasters, and so we made 15 templates. We worked really hard on this.
Yeah, there were so many hours.
Oh, come on. Don't make it like...
I'm not making
there
it
was
like...
so many
It
hours.
was, though. It
was enjoyable, though.
It was a grind. But in anything that's enjoyable, there's still a grind.
Yeah, sure.
There's still, like, that point where you're 2/3 through and you're like, oh, I don't know where the end of the tunnel is. Where you just have to... But there, I also found a bit of... like comfort and in the routine of that, of waking up and knowing, okay, I want to try to get 2 more sites done today. I want to finish the one that I didn't finish last night. Just kind of pushing yourself, like, you know, the way that I imagine athletes kind of get addicted to getting a faster time or a better time running a track or something like that. It's like you wake up and it's just a very clear set of steps. Yeah, right. And I feel like we, as freelancers, we switch between like head down work mode and then coming back up and looking for work mode. And it's always back and forth. But I find that there's such a comfort for me in waking up in the morning and not having to like be like, what do I have to do? It's just laid out for me clear. So I did enjoy that.
It's the best of both worlds. I didn't enjoy working in a company when the company didn't know what it was working on, right? So like being a freelancer and being able to like cherry pick and work. I like working in teams, but I like to get out teams as well. Like get in, do what's needed and get out again. Because I don't like those moments in companies where you can tell that the company doesn't know what it's doing and it's kind of asking you as an employee what you think. Yeah. And that opens up a whole can of worms, because then you've got all the other employees. Like if you come up with a great idea, all the other employees are like, shit, why didn't I come up with that? And then they're bringing you down because like politics, man. I don't do office politics.
Yeah. Or
I don't do internet politics.
Or somebody just takes credit for something you said or whatever. Like,
right. It's just crap.
Yeah. And I think you and I have such an eye for inefficiency, and like because we're such optimizers, it's so clear to see like, oh man, they could be doing blah 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 blah, it would be save so much time, so much money, and those things are running frustrations. Whereas if I'm working for myself, at least that's on me if I'm being inefficient. Like I don't have to just sit and stew at my desk like, oh man, this is so dumb, it could be better if XYZ. I've had that in every job, every office job I've ever had was
the unfortunate reality is that inefficiency seems to drive a lot of business. Like it seems to be the way that money can be just like, oh well, if that doesn't work, we'll just keep throwing money at it until it works. Like I don't know why we don't have a marketplace for efficient things. It seems like nobody seems to care about the when you're in the flow of something, it seems to be like, well, as long as there is an end result and we get to where we get to, like it doesn't matter if we damage the environment, and B, if we spend too much money on it. It's like we want the end result. And there's kind of like I don't know, there's something that really inside me just gets so angry about that, because I always want the best from myself, and I know times that I do things, I could do things better, but I also know that there's a time thing on that. So I mean, we did 15 templates in the last 2 weeks using this card site. We love this card site because of the landing page ability of it. It's very easy to like box something up quickly. The price is incredibly fair per year.
I think we have 16 actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought we had 15.
I don't know, either way.
One more snuck in there.
Yeah.
I'm going to up that to 17 just to be ahead.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I didn't realise we had 16, really?
Yeah, well, I just know because it's an even number, so.
All right.
Either way, we have a bunch there, and we tried to think about what we asked for and what we would want. So, like, there are actually a couple themes on there. Well, we're already using the t-shirt site theme for our personal t-shirt shop.
Yeah.
That's called beeb.ee.
Easy to remember.
And like the freelancer one on there, I'm actually thinking of redoing my personal site.
Nice.
And using that theme. And I didn't intend that when I built it. It was just like, okay.
Now you've grown to like it.
Yeah, now I like it. And so sometimes I go and I want to shop for my own stuff on there. So that there's a level of like pride that you can take in your work when you actually like it and would use it, instead of it being like,
for sure,
for a client. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got we did an esport agency, a cafe one, a skincare one, ebooks one, an actor one, a monthly box one. Those boxes that you get where you get so much stuff in them. A t-shirt one, wedding, podcast theme, which we use for
we use
unfr.ee.
the podcast theme too.
Personal site, which Dale's going to use, photographer, freelancer, baby shower, like a meetup card, bridal shower, and also one for a 501c, which is a non-profit. So like we just picked a hyper niche group of things that we know a majority of those people don't want to spend a lot of money on, but they need a presence. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, like the charities and churches, like there's not really going to be any changing content on there other than maybe a calendar. So it's like people just need a landing page to know.
To stick it on the business card, or if somebody says, do you have a website? Because people always do that, right? People walk up to somebody, do you have a website? It's a lot easier than saying twitter.com/such and such,
Right.
So we did that. We launched that. Happy that we got it launched. We got a tiny little upvotes on Product Hunt. It was kind of a bit of a soft launch, because if it was a hard launch, we'd probably done a lot of promotion, probably had a lot of graphics, ran it for like a couple of weeks. I still feel like I'm going to do that. And more than anything, I'm glad we did it, because whenever I come across things on Upwork now, and I just did this morning, I just applied for 6 different jobs this morning, it adds a little bit of extra depth to your proposal. Because the ones that I've done before for like Upwork, which is like a play on Upwork, is like screencasting and video editing. I've had people come back and say, well, if you can't use Camtasia, then sorry, if you use ScreenFlow but not Camtasia, then I can't use you. However, we do like this stuff that you do here.
Right.
How much is that?
Yeah, it's like the difference between being like, hey, I can do this for you, and being like, hey, I've done this before.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
that's really the big thing, where it's
yeah,
like,
people want to know you can do it.
Right.
Like, I don't want to imply, like, again, actually, this morning, they're very specific. Like, have you done 100 hours? Are you in America? Are you in, what you call it? So I think Upwork especially are trying to be super hyper specific about that. By the way, anybody who's like into crypto and stuff, like, Upwork is prime right now for a decentralized version of Upwork.
Yeah.
If you can get all the blockchains together to start putting their jobs onto a decentralized Upwork equivalent, and so basically there is work there to do, then I mean, just look up the numbers, how much like Upwork just got, money wise, and you'll see that there's a massive market there for a decentralized version
for the Steam blockchain, because of the fact that a site like that inherently needs payment processing built in.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can do that for free.
It's
Zero
huge.
transaction fees on the Steam blockchain with, 3.5 second speeds is like so it's just like so perfect to be built on Steam.
Yeah, what a great segue.
I know.
You did a great segue. You did a good segue there.
I am pretty good.
So, talking about Steam.
Yes, and things built on Steam.
And the growth of things and the fast transaction times. This week, drugwars.io launched, which is another game. So, second game on the Steam blockchain that's had a really good launch. And has about 1,800, 900 people playing it daily. Within 3 days, I think they made 42,000 Steam, which is quite a lot of Steam. Or at least... not made, but like that's the amount of accrued money-wise, Steam money-wise, in terms of people upgrading stuff. And it's a hit. It's an absolute hit. And it just goes to prove that, I mean, I think the development team, I think it was either one person, one dev, maybe a couple of people advising, but one dev for 1 month has built it out. And just goes to show that you can build a business on the Steam blockchain. And if you go to steamapps.com, and do a search, you'll see that you get like a top 50, I think it is, of all the Steam apps. And the most important thing to look at is the daily usage of that, because a lot of dApps that you hear about, they don't have any traffic. If you're going to have a look at the Ethereum ones, they don't have anything like the Steam ones do. And we really noticed that when the state of the dApps and all these other sites started bolting in Steam, which I think brings probably some of the Ethereum lot to look at Steam because of that.
Yeah.
That's one thing they don't have. They might have the application, but they just don't have the daily traffic.
And they don't have the community.
They don't have the daily traffic because they don't have the community.
Right.
Or the people who know what... For saying that we have thousands of people active daily on Steam, there is a hardcore group, I would say, of about 250 or 500 that I could, at the drop of a hat, tell you what they do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, in my head, I could tell you who to go to on the Steam blockchain to do certain things.
Right.
And it was High Touch who made Drug Wars, who's very well known in the Steam community for building these kind of things. He built Fundition as well, I think. High Touch, which is kind of cool. What else happened this week? Positively, I linked up on iHasCard and ampsteam.com and what was the other one? Unfree. So unfr.ee, which is our podcast site, so you can get to both of our podcasts from there. I linked up Roland P's brand new Steam account widget, which is Superfly. You can get yourself a Steam account for $2.50 roughly, the price based on what the price is today. And it's like 3 little walkthrough sections to get yourself a Steam account. So if you've been like, I want a Steam account, but I tried it on steamit.com and I've been waiting over a week or 2 weeks and it didn't happen, like you can get one on those 3 sites. We don't get anything from it. We got a referral link on there just so that if we get any traffic through our sites, people can sign up and get an account. And then it opens you up to the wonderful world of the dApps. Wow. There's like 400 something dApps like now. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think the more people who build in little funnels, little portals to create accounts like Steam Hunt does, and other dApps are starting to, Steam Monsters, the better, because it was such a choke point of being like, okay, you gotta go, like you said, gotta go to steamhunt.com, you gotta, wait 2 weeks or wait a week or whatever, or Jerry Banfield's being like, pay me $50 and we can do like, there's just like, the more variety we have in terms of ways to get an account on Steam is gonna be good.
Yeah, it's a big choke point for onboarding because most people are used to going to a website, putting in their name and their email address, and boom, it's done. You get an email, click on a button.
Also, sorry, speaking of Unfree, I noticed that you put a buy us a coffee button on there, but we also have, if you enjoy any of our templates or want to hire us for any work, you can also pay us in the form of soups from our Amazon wish list. So we put that together one night. Yeah. Where we just sat down and we added like a epic ton of ramen to a wish list. So
you got to be practical about this stuff, right? At the end of the day, what do you use the money for? Like, we've spent the time that we put into the site is time that if there was an Upwork job around, I mean, it's a bad time to do it because February at this time is kind of like, it's quiet. The best time to promote some of this stuff now will be at the end of February when people get paid monthly, because they'll be recovering from Christmas and stuff. So I'm glad we get it done now.
Yeah.
Because I know it's going to be something that we use for moving forward. Yeah. And then when we do get some downtime, we can go in and make version 2s of the templates, or if we don't have a template for a certain thing, I definitely want to push the actor ones. It's just so many actor things. Oh, and another thing I should add. So yes, the Amazon wish list, if you don't want to pay with fiat, if you don't want to pay $35, you don't have $35, and you're more inclined to be philanthropic and be like, I'll feed you for your theme. Then you can use
appreciate noodles.
Yeah, I love noodles. I love the idea of that though as well. You know, somebody being able to pay us with food from an Amazon wish list. Like, Amazon's just,
it's like a decentralized barter system, really. Because like back in the day, what would you do? You'd be a cobbler or a barrel maker or cooper, and you'd trade it for bread or grain at the market. So I want to get back to that.
We've got the bread and grain situation locked down.
That's true. We've been making rotis, which is a Indian style flatbread. Yeah. It's rolled in this very specific way that makes it light and flaky and delicious.
Freaking gorgeous.
And they're really nice, and we are aiming to get them down to a penny per bread. A, because we're just obsessed with optimizing. B, we are because we're skint. But like, I love the goal. I think even if we were millionaires,
it's still up.
Be like, let's get these breads down to 1 penny.
I'd still do it. Like the fact that we can buy a 10 kilogram bag of flour, and then we've like divided it. I just think it's really healthy to like know how much things cost, where it's from, like how it's made. Like, I've been in my head for the last 6 months. I've been like, I just want to drill down to the point where it's like, I have these food bases covered. Yeah. Maybe it's a bit of a survivalistic thing as well, seeing things with climate change and just, on the back of like modding on Steam Hunt of all these drones. But like, it gets to a point where it's like, this is not sustainable. So how do we enact sustainability into your own life? And I feel like the way to do that is not to be so flippant about, I'm going to grab this off the shelf and this off the shelf. And it's other factors as well. Like we got used to having like meal deals from the shop, and it's just like £3 and don't even have to worry about it. You just pick one of those, done, £3. Good. Okay, fine, thanks. And then recently, because they changed the way that works, it made me look at it closer. Yeah. It's like, so the wrap is not included now.
Yeah, when you get to the till and then the person all of a sudden is like, oh, no, that's not in it anymore. That's not included. It's this, and this now.
But what happened, though, what I noticed last week is that we went to a different place that still had the £3 meal deal with the wraps in it. Yeah. And the first thing Dale did is unpack the wrap. and look at the wrap in detail. Like
Yeah.
she unfolded it.
Yeah.
She unfolded it. She's like, "Where's the duck in this? Where it's a little tiny piece of scraggy lettuce, and it's mainly bread." So then the optimizers that we are, we're like, "Fuck this noise. We can make these. We
Yeah.
can make our own wraps." And that was it. We were like on it. Then it was like
Right.
flour, butter, ghee, healthier. Da 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 da.
And, it's even changing. Like when we were in the shop the other day, there was like something was on sale. It was like 8 wraps for 45.
Right.
And it was like, and that's for us, like that's an incredible deal. We'd be like, hell yeah, that's great. But then when you do the math and your own costs 1 or 2 pennies,
It tastes better.
and you know that, and then it's like, I mean, you really are like splitting fractions of fractions of fractions, but you realize that they're still making a freaking huge profit on 45 cents because that's actually how cheap the items are. So when things are full price, a pound 50, whatever, you're like, you
Plus,
laugh at it. You're like, who are you?
Plus, less waste.
Absolutely, less packaging.
We're not having plastic container. Like we're not having another plastic thing. I mean, yes, it's our time, but we did it this morning. Like, what was it, 7:30? So it took us half an hour to make like 12 wraps from scratch.
Yeah.
And those, use them for breakfast, but we'll probably use them later on for tea or curry or whatever, or for rice and things. And I really dig them. Like, I still got to do some research on ghee and getting the right kind of ghee, but it feels damn good to go into a supermarket and buy a big bag or bags of flour,
Of raw materials.
Indian flour, and be like, we are our bread destiny.
And it is empowering. It's so empowering to feel like, okay, if everything totally goes to shit, like I have in my mind the skill and the power to understand how to take raw materials and sustain myself. Then after that you're removing the reliance on Uber Eats, on
Reliance
on a middleman. Like that's what we're always aggrieved about is middlemen, but like what are we doing in our daily lives that are keeping those middlemen afloat because we're supporting them in certain ways by not being self-sufficient. So obviously you could get down to like the nth degree if you checked out that YouTube channel that we shared a couple weeks ago about that Chinese woman who is like on a farm and she's using an ox to grind wheat into her own flour. Like you could get to a level where everything is 100%, but I think everybody can find little room to take something that they buy and say, okay, could I make this instead? I think that's a really good first step.
You know what I would like to see? Here's a great idea. Social media campaign for Clash of Clans. You're allowed to use this Clash of Clans, like spread this out there. This could go viral.
Oh boy.
I know ex-friends. I say ex-friends, I just don't see them anymore, but I know ex-friends who've spent lots of money on Clash of Clans, right? For setting up, like that isometric, like 2D, 3D look on the iPad, and it's at a certain angle. Yeah. People buy castles and all that shit, right? Do almost like a Big Brother version of that, real-time streaming camera at the same kind of angle, and you divvy up a field into quadrants, and you get 10 of your top players from Clash of Clans to come down. You give them so much supplies, and you tell them to live off the land, and just see how bad, the application of like them trying to do real world stuff.
In like a simulated world.
In a simulated world, right? But like you could do overlays on it. You could put like the markings on it. This is somebody's quadrant, I just think that'd be really good to connect the two worlds together. People are like, what the hell is this? It's like, oh, it's the real world version of Clash of Clans.
But do you find that there's like more and more survival games coming out? Like there's more and more games where it's like you're dropped like
yeah, but it's about
like
acquiring
Rust
weapons.
And
mainly.
No, not like BRs. I'm talking about things where you have to like harvest wood and build, what was the one that Decky was playing weeks ago? Was that Ark?
You sort of like Ark,
yeah, whatever. All those games, like I'm just seeing a lot more of those open world, like
Sandbox.
you dropped literally naked. Yeah, sandbox type games where it's like you dropped naked, figure it out, and it's about inventory management and figuring out this builds this and this makes this, and now I gotta chop down trees to make a fire.
Yeah, but it's only tickling the fancy of like, oh, I'd like in another dimension, I'd be a survivalist. Like, it's not really teaching people skills, is it?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe it's that psychological trick where when you talk about a goal that you want to achieve, you have the satisfaction as though that you've already achieved it. Maybe that's like maybe that's people's outlet into being like, oh yeah, I know how to survive. I can do this. I do it on my
I think
Xbox
it's the game
every day.
I think it's the game developers being surreptitious about like hanging on to being a middleman in the games industry.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, great. Teach people like, oh, these things are what you need to survive. But I would like to see also a social media campaign run alongside that. Like, we watch a streamer called Stadeki, and this guy tries to cook raw broccoli on the floor on a pan.
In real life. In real life.
This is real
that
life.
Sounds like a video game.
He streams himself like with a hot plate on the floor, with sometimes oil if he's feeling decadent. He'll put raw broccoli on the fucking frying pan, and then he would like move it around like he's some kind of chef. And then I feel pain for him while watching him eat hard veg, and that's his veggie intake. So like, I don't know. There's a lot that can be done there to train certain generations how to like be self-sufficient. I love the fact that like my daughter knows how to make breads and stuff, and saying that, oh, I looked it up on the internet, like understanding that she can go to that resource and pull that back, you know, that's like half the hurdle.
Yeah.
What time are we on? Because I feel like we've done loads of time. 30 minutes. So there's a few other things I want to sneak in here before we finish up. Are you cool to like move on from that?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's cool. Go ahead.
Last 3 things I just want to throw out there. I'm still working on a project, another project. So we try to launch 3 in a week, and it just got overwhelming in the end. So some like got so far, and some didn't. Steamcasting's been going for 10 days. I put it up on Fundition. We've had some donations. We've posted some news about it. We've done some updates. We put a scheduler together, and one of the things that I put a post together for is that we want to decentralize the actual company, because there's no point setting up a company in this country if we decide to move somewhere else. Or, you know, the state that I see at the moment is that like sites are getting hacked, like password details are getting. Last thing I need if I set up a company is I don't want all the stress of like all of that falling apart. I want to be able to work on the product, right? Because I believe I can deliver on the product, because the services exist now to be able to do it. It's just like an organizational thing for me to do, is like fast internet, bunch of editors, 5 people on board. And so those 5 people might live globally, they might not live locally to me. So I've been looking at Aragon One, which is like this Ethereum kind of tool to set up a decentralized company in the cloud. And it costs £10 to set that up, because obviously you have to have a fee.
Sure.
Otherwise people will just make loads of spammy ones. And I'm really excited about that, because I've been wanting to play with that for a while. And probably a few people are like, yeah, but you're on the Steam blockchain, like, oh, you want to do Ethereum? It's like, I don't care what blockchain it is as long as it delivers on the tool, right?
Yeah.
I'm not bothered about that. The idea of having 10 people globally all working on Steamcasting, doing some editing, doing some videos, uploading, doing the management, scheduling, playlist, and them all knowing that they're part of something bigger, and they're getting paid in tokens for their time, or they have a cut of the business if it makes any profit from advertising, that everybody gets their fair share. I think the biggest problems with setting up companies is that, you know, somebody wants to move up from sales to like managerial, yada yada yada. There's like and all of the crappy politics that go with that. So I feel like the most powerful parts of blockchain is, yes, the immutability, but also the consensus layer. The consensus layer of like 2 or 3 people. You know, if somebody, I saw it the other day that an exchange owner died with $160 million of Bitcoin all like tied up, and nobody got access to it.
He's the only one who had the keys.
So having a business where like you're a part owner, I'm a part owner, and then we have a team of people who have an investment in the company, then the handover of that is like, okay, we still have the company. You know, it just makes sense.
Well, and it's also like keeping the decentralized model. It's like how many businesses, and not to say that this is a bad thing, it's just a different way, but how many businesses are running on blockchains and touting the advantages of decentralization, but it's a centralized company.
Right.
They're all working in one office with one CEO. Like, that's as centralized as it gets. So like, why not Why not bring the philosophy of decentralized all the way down the pipeline?
And I wanted to start that from the beginning because I want people to be like, I want to detach as much, although my ego is attached to the, oh wow, wouldn't this be amazing, to the 24/7 stream, and like, oh, it'd be great for Steam and we can promote all the yada 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 on it. It doesn't get us any further forward. Whereas if I think about it now before setting it up and be like, okay, this is an idea that I've had, I'm passionate about it, I want to deliver it, but I want to deliver it with 100 more people who are content creators as well, and I want them to feel that they're incentivized to be part of it, not just like some kind of, you know, niche little cool LA thing where it's like, oh, you're part of the vlogger crowd, you know, like I want it to have some substance to it. And if we really 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 want cryptocurrency, crypto services, blockchain to really take off and dominate past centralized stuff, it has to have something that centralized doesn't have, right? And I truly believe that the Aragon One project will do it, because they're really working hard on it. Another additional update to that, had conversations with the guys who do the scheduler part, which is like a third-party service that we're going to use. And at first, they thought that I wanted to stream 24 hours seamlessly. And so the price went up by 10x. It went from like $1,000 a year to like $10,000 a year, because obviously it adds more, I presume it adds more issues with providing a 24/7 service. If you're running something seamless, then you need to employ team members to be like
keep it up and redundancies.
Yeah, exactly. Like looking over the service. And I was like, no, I don't want to do. I do want to do 24 hours, but actually, me uploading to the network every day a 24-hour file would be massive.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I want to do 6 4-hours, because that way, if I have a team structure, I can be like, you're the breakfast squad, you're the lunchtime squad, you're the early evening commute squad, right? And then every one of those teams has got a 4-hour block that they work on.
Right.
That's how I see it. I don't want to be like on the stream 24 hours a day. I just want to have a 24-hour stream.
Yeah.
And if people are like, why 24-hour? Just go and check out YouTube. Go and check out the audio. People who are playing chill out audio for 24 hours, and you'll understand where I'm trying to go with this.
Chill hop and chilled cow.
I've got 5,000 people watching it, and they're sitting in the chat. They've got a whole community there. We're missing out on 5,000 potential Steamians right there.
Yeah, well, it's why would you have the argument of like CNN? Why does that have to be 24 hours? Like we've accepted 24-hour TV, so why not?
When was the last time CNN paid you for sitting in the chat?
I'm telling you, they don't even have a chat.
So like incentivize the crowd, and people are like, oh, by the way, you're listening to our chilled out music, but you know you could be posting about this on Steam and maybe get a upvote.
Right.
And then imagine the crowd swell that you could have, like almost imagine QVC if they had cryptocurrency, right? Imagine back in the day if QVC shipped with the optional feature of being able to pay in Steam.
Right.
QR code on the screen.
Even fundraising, like if you had, remember the old like telethons on TV where it would be like 24-hour telethon, we're gonna have this person on. If you wanted to dedicate, if people would, be willing to give up their slots for a day for a certain cause, and everybody, collaborate. There's a million different ways you could do it.
Stop, collaborate, and listen. Final thing I want to push out today.
Yes.
That I'm super positive about and people should know about. With 37 minutes, we normally go to like 45 minutes, but I wanted to get this out. Twitter account NVK posted a little message the other day that they had successfully sent a Bitcoin payment over the air, not satellite. We've seen the one about satellite. I think it's called Blockstream, where they're using satellite to send Bitcoin. But the ham radio guys are back. The ham radio guys are back in action.
Hell yeah.
And they're using this thing called JS8 call, which they're basically sending Bitcoin money to a brain wallet, which I don't really know what that is, but a brain wallet over 7.077 megahertz. So we're literally sending money and value in through the air.
Well, I'm gonna do it with Morse code.
Well, we're gonna feed our pigeons the spare roti that we have left, and we're gonna like customize them to send certain upvotes to some people.
That's wild.
So check it out. It's twitter.com/NVK. Also smarturl.it/JS8 call if you're interested in going checking that out. But there's a multitude of ways that this stuff is trying to permeate. All right, so you shut down the ISP. All right, you shut down the satellite. People are sending it through radio waves, man.
I know. That's so... Oh, man, That's so epic.
It takes me back.
Really is so awesome.
It takes me back to my CB radio days, because if you remember Contact, where she's like trying to bounce her radio signal off the ionosphere.
Yeah.
Because that was the big thing for ham radio people back in the day. Is like, it's all about my setup. You know, is my aerial good? Is my aerial tuned? Do I have enough power? Like when you press the little plastic button on your microphone, you're not only just talking into a capsule mic, you're firing up the amplifiers in your CB radio. You're sending like 50 watts into your aerial, and then when that radio signal goes out on 40, I think it was 40 kilohertz, I think. No, maybe different on ham radio. I'm talking about CB, but it bounces off the ionosphere, and so people have these big competitions to see how far they. Because what happens, it gets trapped by the troposphere, right? Mm-hmm. So you have the ionosphere layer, and radio waves can permeate through that, but they can't go through the troposphere.
Yeah.
So what happens is the radio signal does this. Right, so around the world, it
so
just
it's like skipping rocks.
Yeah. So you're skipping this radio signal, and so the big thing in ham radio is like, holy shit, I talked to Australia today, but it only happens at certain periods of time, and this is where it like gets all zen for me and mystical and very Star Trek with the whole like ribbon, the Nexus ribbon, because you had a better signal when we had the sun hitting. You know, when we get, what's the green thing that happens on there?
Oh, the aurora?
Yeah, so when auroras are around,
yeah,
you have better chance of getting...
Yeah, because those are I think electromagnetic.
Right, so they carry the radio wave.
Whoa.
Yeah. So like whenever... Whoa. Yeah, so whenever...
Maybe they're... Wow.
Yeah, maybe they're taking...
We need to be able to decode the aurora. Like the way that it's coming down, maybe it's some type of alien braille, electromagnetic braille.
Maybe the next time we have a big aurora, we need to charge it with 1,000 ham radios, sending Bitcoin into the Nexus Aurora cloud.
No, you know what we'll send? It'll just be like, you know, it'll go through eons and eons and centuries, and it'll finally reach an alien civilization. They'll dial in and they'll turn up their amplifiers, and it'll be like,
never
gonna give you up, never gonna let you down.
Either that or be like, this is worth 0.01 cent. This culture.
Yeah, that's such a human thing, is spend billions of dollars to send a 1 cent transaction.
Yeah, that would be us, wouldn't it? That would be the Homo sapien.
One more like real quick positive thing that I forgot to add to the list was that I had a little video chat, which was very eerie, but I had a little one-sided video chat with Upwork, the big giant brain in the head in the sky, and they have a new situation where you have to verify your identity if you want a little blue checkmark badge.
Okay.
And I think those things are going to become more and more mandatory for people to have to be competitive. You know,
right.
Like you mentioned earlier that, you know, you need to have this many hours and this percentage of positive reviews and this and this and this. Well, they're adding like this another layer that I had to send in a photo of my passport or government ID. And then they were like, okay, are you ready for your video chat? And I was like, okay. So I flipped my camera on quick, and it was just the Upwork logo, which had a human voice behind it.
Weird.
And it was like, hello, Dale. And I was like, hi. Because you're just so used to working decentralized. Like, I haven't heard a lot of my clients' even voices before.
Right.
So it's like, breaks that third wall, and you're like, whoa, I really am out here in the world. And it was like, okay, let me just see your face. Okay, and can you tell me what your home address is? And I said my home address, and she was like, okay, you'll have your blue check mark in about 15 to 20 minutes, and then hung up the call.
That's crazy.
So a lot of that stuff's coming because with deepfake and with like these softwares that are able to mimic your voice and everything else, they're going to need more and more layers of identity that you are who you say you are.
Oh, so. I've done audio stuff on Upwork. I know I'm probably an English translation for an ATM machine somewhere in Russia somewhere. But
no doubt.
But the decentralized stuff, you're right. I think the immutability stuff will become massive.
Yeah.
You know, and it won't be just one blockchain. It'll be multiple blockchains. It'll be time sensitive. It'll be location sensitive. Are you this person alive doing this right now? You know, are you at the other end of the keyboard? Maybe they're doing those checks and verifying the top flight people as well because they want to entertain different audiences. They want to entertain big corporations.
Yeah.
And corporations need that.
Yeah, of course.
Corporations not going to work with you unless you're verified.
Yeah, or you are where you say you are. You know,
right.
at the beginning, it was like just put your address, and you could be in anywhere and say you're from the United States or England. So yeah, all ships rising, all things moving forward. It's just a bit of a it was a hustle this week, and it's not over. We still have a lot more hustling to do. So
that's right. Now, this might play really fast or it might play really slow because I've had to introduce it again. So this could be...
Oh, boy.
This could be interesting. There's a plane going over. Listen. Real-time effects. They came for our roadies. Dun, dun, dun.
I swear I heard a rocket ship take off the other morning.
It was pretty bad. All right, guys. We will speak to you soon. Hope you have a fantastic day and weekend. Take care.
You can support the show by heading to anchor.fm/positive and clicking the Support This Podcast button, or by checking out any of this week's sponsors.
Subscribe to Positively Negative wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can hang out with us on Discord by visiting smarturl.it/talkback.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Yay! Bye!